Hey, this is episode number 14 of Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports, brought to you by Numbers Don't Lie Productions. In this interview, we had David Melendez of Designs by DM Photography back for another great discussion on the landscape of youth sports and how he's capturing the best of the best with his work. We discussed how he ended 2019 attending several youth football championships in Florida and what's ahead and which athletes to keep an eye on for 2020. Before we get into this episode, be sure to subscribe so new episodes will be sent to you automatically, and please help us reach more people by leaving a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. And remember, if you'd like to learn more about the services offered by Numbers Don't Lie and how we can help you highlight your athlete's special skills, be sure to visit numbersdon'tlie.biz. Now let's get into this episode. Welcome to Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports, where we bring you insights from top athletes, their sports journey, and those positively impacting the youth sports community. If you're ready like we are, let's go. All right, we want to welcome in David Melendez of Designs by DM. We want to welcome him back to Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports. David, how's it going, my man?
Good, PJ. How you doing?
Good. A lot's changed since we last met. You've been going through a lot. So we're just going to jump right into everything that happened at the end of last year and then what you guys got coming up for 2020.
For sure.
So before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Designs by DM, and what you do in the world of youth sports, just to recap for everyone.
So the recap. All right, cool. So basically, freelance sports photographer, just out there getting images for teams and players and like we always say, getting these kids noticed and stuff, so basically just a freelance photographer right now. I'm all over the board right now though, so I'm doing a little bit of football, a lot of football, actually doing a little bit of basketball here and there. You guys are going to start seeing that upcoming, but I don't really have any sport that I don't do, so that's one of the things where you said a lot's changed. I've gotten into a little bit different realm now, so it's going to be fun. This 2020 is going to be fun. You're going to see.
Let's talk about the end of last year and the 2019, the Florida Pop Warner and AYF championships that you went to. And I want to touch on a couple things. One, as a photographer, and then two, you went back there with Chris, your son, and we're out there as a father too. So why don't you just kind of recap what you did at the end of 2019 going into Florida?
So we went to Florida. Obviously, my son played for La Mirada, so they got a trip to Florida. So it was kind of interesting because I did have teams that wanted me to be out there. So I kind of got, I got to go see teams that were out there. Hub City was out there. Obviously, the OG Ducks I take pictures for. So it was fun though. Actually, one of the first times I really got to see my son play and really just enjoy a trip with my family, and you know what I mean. But the photography side of it was great, man. AYF, the whole Pop Warner, they're two different things. Pop Warner is one entity, and then you got AYF. They were both there at the same time, so I got to enjoy Pop Warner first. A lot of kids out there that I knew, and then obviously AYF, where Hub City and OG Ducks were. It was very, very interesting. It was kind of fun, to see how they play, how both organizations are so different. But it was definitely a good trip, man. I mean, for my boy to go out of Pop Warner, that whole it's like every kid's dream to go to Florida for Pop Warner, So obviously as a dad, it was fun too, It's great. It was a great trip.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you were able to make new connections too for the business, for photography?
Yeah, out there in Florida, that was AYF is huge, their football thing. So obviously riding with the OG Ducks this whole season got me a lot of new leads and a lot of good stuff out there. So you'll see coming up this year, there's going to be I'm going to be everywhere. I was everywhere at the end of last season. You've seen that. It was crazy. But this coming up year, I'm almost booked like through June. So it's getting crazy.
Yeah, you're doing a great job with it. Your photos and your videos are just amazing. They're popping up everywhere. So let's talk about, you said you're booked up almost through June. And I know 7-on-7 football just started, and we talked last year of how big that's getting. Why don't you just tell us what's coming up for 2020 where you're going to be, especially over the next 6 months, where people might see you, might see your photos, that kind of stuff.
So right now, as of 2020, obviously, like you said, it's 7-on-7 season. So That's big, and I think we talked about that last year. It's getting big. It's getting bigger and bigger now. I mean, you got so many. Last year it was certain tournaments, and now this year it seems like everybody's throwing tournaments. Whether you're Battle or your Shock Doctor or just these companies just throwing tournaments everywhere. So now it's getting crazy. So now there's tournaments, 2 or 3 tournaments a weekend in all different spots. So it's fun, but it's stretching. It's got me. We're going to go to Vegas. I think in 2 weeks we're going to Pylon in Vegas. So basically for the next 3 months it's going to be 7-on-7. That's where you're going to see me full time is 7-on-7. I'm booked up with Real Speed. They got me out there doing pictures. Obviously, my son plays for them too, so kind of works out. You know what I mean? I get to be there and take pictures. So I'm trying to put myself in line where I don't got to go too far. But there's going to be a lot of tournaments coming up for
Right.
7-on-7.
And if a team notices you out there on one of the 7-on-7 tournaments, obviously there's dozens of teams that are out there at each tournament. Can they kind of reach out to you and say, hey, can you capture some stuff for my team while you're out here, just in passing, and then you work out a deal with them as well?
Yeah, of course. I try to get my name out there, and I try to get be friendly with everybody. And yeah, I've had a couple of those where people, even if it's a team that we're playing, like I'm on nobody's side. I'm the photographer. You know what I mean? I'm just here to take pictures and get the good stuff. So yeah, that happens a lot. Or a team will see me and then basically, hey, can I hire you for next weekend, or where are you going to be? And DM me. We'll figure it out. Like I said, I'll make something happen for everybody. Like I'll move that schedule around. I'll figure it out. There's ways to get it done. Obviously I can't be everywhere and nobody can. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've talked on several occasions, and you're doing a lot of free work, over the last year, and then you still do some, and you're just wanting to get out there and you're hustling like crazy. How are you able to do that? What's cash is king, obviously. Cash is oxygen to keep your business going. So where are you making money?
Well, so that's, one of the things that people don't know about me. I do have a full-time job, regular job, a family business that is not photography, but photography is taking over. So, my income comes from a regular job, but photography is taking over. So hopefully that's where I go. Full-time is photography, but the free stuff, I always encourage people do free stuff. I mean, if you want to get in there and you want to get known and you want to help people out and them help you out, you got to do free stuff every once in a while. And that's what I try to do for the kids, here and there. I'll do a free poster for a kid or a free highlight video, just depending if I have time. Like I try and keep myself busy. So if I got time, I obviously got all the footage from all these games that I'm doing. So I'll always throw something in free for a kid. Or if somebody asks me, hey, do you have pictures of me? I'll try and hook you up. I can't hook up everybody, obviously. It's crazy. The inbox is crazy, but I try to hook people up. You know what I mean? So that's basically what I'm doing right now. Is just doing paid work and then putting in some free stuff, free advertisement for me too. You know what I mean? The kid gets a free poster or whatever it is, highlight. I get free advertisement, and that's just the way it works.
Right. So let's talk about where people can see your work. They obviously see it on your Instagram page, but there's some places where they may see your work and it looks like your work, but there's no watermark or anything on it. Because I know you're working for some big companies and some big organizations. Why don't you tell us who are a few of the big companies or organizations that you're working with?
So I guess the biggest one right now would be Real Speed, and they're sponsored by Shock Doctor. So that kind of puts me in line with Shock Doctor. So a lot of the stuff that I do for Real Speed, I don't watermark it because some of it's going to go to Shock Doctor, or you know what I mean. So I try not to watermark a lot of my work. If obviously if somebody's paying for it, I'm not going to watermark it at all. But even stuff that I put out there, I just don't like the watermark look. But you see that I've been doing it a little bit more lately because, like you said, I see my work everywhere, and people are using my work for advertisements, for posters, for things that I'm like, all right, that's cool, but they're actually charging people for this, you know what I mean? And I'm like, that's where I go, all right, I got to throw a watermark on there. If you're going to charge somebody to use my picture, then at least have my watermark on, at least give me some exposure, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, but another one too is Lace Facts. If you look at Lace Facts, if their Instagram, 70% of their stuff is just my pictures, my photography. Yeah, there's a couple other ones out there I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, Lace Facts and Real Speed are two of my big ones right now.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I know a lot of people are very familiar with Laced Facts and Real Speed as well, especially here in Southern California. So let's move
Yeah.
over and talk a little bit about, you've talked about things you want to work on for 2020 and specifically stepping up your video and camera skills. So how's that going for you and where are you going with the videos?
It's been fun, man. It's been a journey. So that's basically what's taking up a lot of my time right now. It's just the learning process behind the scenes. I mean, obviously, as a video guy, you can't never stop learning. So I've been pushing myself to learn the video side of it. Not to take over on video, but I kind of feel like without video, you don't really have anything. You know what I mean? I do my pictures and my pictures are great, but people always want video. And I do like a 1 minute video for Instagram. I'm not doing long videos, but these quick 1 minute videos, because that's what Instagram gives you, is what, 1 minute or something like that. So I try not to make them too long, but I'm working on that because I think that's the best thing for kids to get their exposure is these quick highlights. No one wants to sit through a 4 minute video, but a 1 minute quick highlight for a kid, it works for them. It works for me, money wise, budget wise. You know what I mean? So I have been trying to work on my game on the video side a lot, watching a lot of videos on how to do videos and just a lot of work.
No, it's looking great, and you do really good stuff, especially the hype videos, the highlight videos, all the special effects you're able to put in those. Are you doing that mostly with video that you're shooting with your camera, or do people send you in footage? How does that work?
I pretty much don't do any video of people that send me video. That's your realm right
Okay.
there. But I do everything I do is my own video. So a lot of the videos I am doing are the quick highlights, like basically like for Lace Facts. I did a little hype video for them for their Lace Facts All-Star game, and you'll start to see Real Speed every week. It's going to start having not every week, but every couple of weeks we'll have a video, just like a teaser for an upcoming tournament, or whether it's a lineman camp or some kind of camp. So that's been what I've been doing a lot of, but it's all my video. I mean, I may grab something from somebody if they need me to put it in there, but for the most part, it's all my video. I try to keep it just strictly my stuff.
Okay, why don't you tell me some of the key athletes you've noticed over the past several months that we should probably be keeping an eye on, especially here in the hotbed of Southern California and the football factories that we have going on here. Who are some of the athletes you think we should be following and taking a look at?
There's a lot of them. So I'm going to start with the youngster who you'll see on my Instagram a lot, which is Carson Thomas. Everybody knows as Pep the Rockstar. That kid right there is going to be amazing. I mean, keep your eye on that kid. He's only getting better and better. And I've never seen anybody work as hard as him. I mean, nonstop, 24/7. He is out there working. Everywhere I go, I see him. I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? So he's one that I got my eye on, like, and I just love him. He's great. And obviously the older kids, you obviously know, you got Peyton Woodyard. Obviously, one of your, numbers don't lie as kids. Obviously, he's going to Bosco. That's going to be a good one to watch. But another one is Jack Ressler from OG Ducks. So he committed to Modern Day. That's going to be a good one to watch too. So I got my eye on a couple of those three that I want to watch come up in the system. You know what I mean? So it's always good to know somebody. You know what I mean? On TV, watch them play. Watch their journey and just hope for the best for them.
Yeah, it's been really cool for both of us over the past few years, just kind of getting into this whole arena of youth sports and seeing so many kids that are reaching out to us and connecting with us. But it's going to be real fun over the next few years as they go into some of these elite high schools and then on to college. We know several of them that have signed already at D1 schools for college. And then after that to see where it takes them. It's going to be really cool to watch. It's exciting.
It's getting to that point now where a lot of them are going to high school, and that's going to be fun to watch them in high school. And obviously, even after high school is even better. I mean, there's so many steps. You got high school, then you got college, and you got NFL. Hopefully, there's a lot to it. It's going to be fun, like you said, next couple of years.
So you mentioned Chris, and he's doing good in football and playing 7-on-7. Does he know where he's going to high school yet? He's in 8th grade right now.
Yeah, but I can't tell you that yet. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, so he's decided to go to St. Paul in Santa Fe Springs.
Okay.
So we moved him from Lace Facts to Veritas, which is not even, I wouldn't say a block or two away from St. Paul. Just for the reason that it's closer. They have a lot of coaches there that interact with St. Paul. It's kind of like almost like a feeder little camp for them and stuff. So we got him lined up for that, and he's excited about St. Paul. He's got a lot of friends that are going there.
Good.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Good. And is he all in on football now? No other sports?
He's all in on football, but you know what? at Veritas, they have batting cages and they're big on baseball. So it clicked a little thing in his head, and so who knows where he'll go if he decides to jump back into baseball. Obviously, we talked to the head coach at St. Paul, and they love the two-sport athletes. So I told Chris, go for it. Just try baseball again. I mean, he loved it, so try it again. If you don't like it, just go 100 football. That's cool.
Yep, absolutely. Well, tell him we wish him luck, and we want to have him on the podcast too as he gets going into high school and playing some football as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think he'd definitely be interested. That'd be great. You know what I mean? Just this whole little transition right now. He's in a transition right now of the 7-on-7 going to high school. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on for him, so you'll get a lot out of his brain.
Very good. So Mariah is going to UC San Diego, correct?
That's correct. So she's still all lined up for that. Everything's going smooth. Talking to the coaches back and forth, doing everything she needs to do. It's a process. Just because you commit doesn't mean you just stop. There's a process, and she's been told that even by her agent, like, hey, you have to do this, and that. Like, you still need workouts. You still need to work on your grades, everything all the way in. So it feels a little bit rougher now than it even was getting here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like now she's under the light now, like a magnifying glass. So, which is good. She needs that,
When does the Monarch season start for Mariah?
It's May for sure. I don't know if it's like maybe Memorial weekend or one of those. They come straight out of high school softball, and it's like the minute softball ends, it starts. And a lot of the kids aren't even done yet with high school. So kind of it's one of those things where kids are still playing high school, and their Monarchs are travel ball is going to their first tournament. So first tournament, usually and it's crazy because you're trying to compete to win a spot over here at the final premiere, but yet you don't have all your girls. So the first week is always tough.
Now I'm going to switch gears just real quick, and then we'll go into our Final Four rapid fire. But 2 weeks ago tonight, or 2 weeks ago today, huge news around the world: Kobe passed away. So let's, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, like that's just you saying that right now gives me the chills. And if you'll notice the Laker hat,
yeah,
and that's been before Kobe. That I've been asking anybody. I've been wearing this hat for months now, but that's a crazy one, man. I don't even know how to even explain that. You know what I mean? Things happen, and it's crazy. To me, it just goes to show that anything can happen in life, and you just gotta I always say, like, hug your family members when you leave every morning. I'm big on that with my kids, with Chris and Mariah. I mean, I tell them I love you every day when I drop them off, and they tell me back, and I always wonder, like, when's that gonna end? But I hope it doesn't ever end. You know what I mean? But it's crazy. I don't even know, like, when you see like Staples Center and you see all the people out there. Actually, my wife and the kids went to the memorial. And man, it was crazy just how many lives he touched and how big he was. It wasn't really about basketball so much as what he did after basketball, like the Mamba Academy and all the stuff he was doing. You never even notice that. And that's what sucks, is that you don't notice that until someone dies. And then all of a sudden it's in the news. And now you're seeing like all the good stuff he was doing, he was everywhere. You know what I mean? And it's crazy.
Right.
Just a sad thing,
Yeah, it's really affected me and touched me. Full disclosure, I wasn't a huge Kobe Bryant basketball fan. I longtime Lakers fan, but after Magic, I was done. And then especially when Shaq and Kobe had their feud, I kind of was like, I'm done with basketball right now. And I just wasn't a fan. But man, so many things on so many levels were more than sports and basketball. He was 41. That happened on my 41st birthday. I mean, it was crazy how that happened. And then just to think about, the superstar that he was doing what you and I do every single weekend with our kids. Is he was traveling to his youth sports. Yes, it was on a helicopter, but it can happen at any moment. And it just, you're right. It's, hug your kids. You never know. And the one thing I can get out of it is how much he found his why. When he was playing basketball, his why was he wanted to be the best there was. And then after basketball, his why was he wanted to give as much back to young people and the game of basketball and to others as he could. And you could see that. And it's pretty amazing. And But it's very sad too. So yeah, I wasn't sure how to, um, what to say as well, but it's touched a lot of lives, and I know it hit home for a lot of us.
Yeah, no, it hit home exactly. That's what I say. It hit home. It hit hard. The minute I heard it was just like, wow, that's just amazing. Like I don't think we've ever seen anybody in our era pass away that was this monumental or this big, and so it's crazy. And
Yeah.
man, I feel bad for his family. Obviously, but just everything around him that he was doing, like with the Mamba Academy and all his kids, and not just his kids, but his players and people he was really helping. You know what I mean? And I was a huge Kobe fan. I mean, I I stopped watching basketball when Kobe retired. That's how big
Yeah.
of a fan I was. You said you were done when Magic was done. I was done when Kobe went out. I was like, that's it, I'm done. Like, who's ever gonna top that? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it was,
But
and then to see, the connections with other sports programs and the baseball coach at OCC, it's just pretty touching and just makes you think and put everything into perspective. And it's much bigger than sports, but sports is also in the fabric of everything we do, and it's really cool to know that. And you know, my wife always tells me the only time I ever cry, it's usually when someone retires or something in sports happens, and she's right. And but
yeah,
this was just monumental, like you said. We've never seen anything like this, of this magnitude of a player going so young. It's such a tragic death, and then you involve all the kids that were in it too. It's so sad. But all right, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit and kind of get your perspective on it as well. So I'm going
yeah.
to transition over to our final four rapid fire. We went through these last time, but things changed. So number one, what's your big goal for the next year? What's the one thing you're focusing on for 2020?
All right. First of all, I got to do better on this rapid fire. I think last time I was like 1 for 3 or something. But my biggest goal for 2020, obviously, is just to get better. Like, that's gonna be my goal every year, is to get better. More organization. Just broaden everything I do. Right now, last year, 2019, I was kind of just one track done, just photography, and obviously at the end I got into videography. But I kind of want to do both this year. You know what I mean? I need to have that both sides of it. You know what I mean? So that's my goal right there.
So let's narrow it down, though. I want to challenge you here, just
Okay.
because you and I are good friends. What's putting everything aside? If you could do one thing by the end of 2020, what's it going to be? Just one. I know you're doing
Um,
all kinds of stuff and your mind's all over the place, just like mine. But what's one thing that if you can improve on, it's going to make everything else easier by the end of the year?
man, you always get me with these trick questions. That's it, man. My one thing is just like I said, just focus on my photography and my videography. Basically, shut everything else out and just. I need to become better at my system. You say it a lot, and I always used to laugh at you, but I think that's my one thing, is my system.
There
I
you
don't
go.
really have a system. I don't have a system. I roll out there, and I know we've talked about this before, where you say whatever you're doing works, and it does. But like, if you watch me behind the scenes, I'm going a million miles an hour in all different directions. I need to focus on a system and have it down. And then obviously, like you said, I need to work on getting another person working with me. I don't know if that'll happen in 2020 though. It may. I mean, that's obviously one of my goals, but we'll see. I got, for me to have somebody working with me is tough, because obviously, you see, I'm at the drop of a dime, I'm gone. You could call me tonight at 10 o'clock, and I get this a lot. People text me at 10 o'clock, hey, bro, we got an 8 o'clock game. Is there any way? Yep, let's go. And you know what I mean? I don't know how I could do that with another person, if another person is going to be that flexible to just jump in with me and go to Vegas or wherever it is. You know what I mean? Sometimes that happens.
Well, I think too, if you focus on that one thing of systematizing thing and being more organized and coming up with one system, it's going to be much easier once you complete that to hand something off to a person, because you have a system to hand off. Right now, you don't know what to hand off to them, and that's the crazy part. And I had the same issue in the past, but I think if you were to focus on that one thing, and when we meet in a couple weeks again, well, like I said, I just want to challenge you to stay focused on that one thing. So, all right,
Yeah, yeah.
number
I think
two.
we
Go ahead.
I think I think we talked about it when we were at our last meeting of basically my system of doing things. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to me, it seems like I try and work on that system, and then I get barraged with just life, like as far as tournaments coming up and everything coming up. So, but yeah, I got
shiny objects syndrome. I've got the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I got to figure out what that is and how to get rid of that. You know what I mean?
It just developing habits over time. We'll get there.
I got you.
All right. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received from anyone, whether it's a coach or a parent, a friend? Best piece of advice?
Man, well, I don't know if you consider it advice, but I always go back to Gary Vee and that go narrow thing. And you know what I mean? That to me, every time I fall off track, I go back to Gary Vee and I listen to that one thing. It's just stay narrow. You just said it, the shiny object syndrome. I have to stay on a path and look forward. So to me, Gary Vee is one of my biggest things. I always go back to him at least once a week to listen to his stuff. And basically he keeps you on a forward path, you know, and that's my thing. I need to stay going forward, man. If I turn around too much and go left or go right, things just start to wander for me. But yeah, I mean, if you consider that advice, I guess that's advice to everybody, you know?
Yep. I think that's great advice. Okay. Who's your favorite athlete and why?
Now, so this is funny. Obvious. I mean, not funny, but I don't want to bring that up. But Kobe's always been my favorite athlete, and it has been because of that Mamba mentality. I've always used that Mamba mentality to my son all the time. Mamba mentality, and I don't want to just jump on this bandwagon and people are, oh yeah, you're going to use that right now. But Kobe's always been one of my favorite of all time. I mean, there was just nobody better than him. I mean, even down to his last game. I mean, it was almost like a story written. You're going, dude, how did he go out like that? How did he go out in his last game and score that many points? It was like everything was just falling in place for him. But to me, that's his work ethic. That's all that was his years and years and years of work paying off. And that's what we always say is, you know, hard work pays off. You know what I mean? And to me, he's my age. He's 41. So he's me. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's my favorite athlete right there.
Yeah. And the Mamba mentality is each day get a little bit better and become the best version of yourself as possible. And it's pretty cool. And I actually heard all the news coming out, the different interviews, you're seeing all kinds of old stuff. One of the things that I thought was really cool that relates to what we're doing in youth sports and what he was doing in youth sports is he was being interviewed. I think it was KTLA 5. They were interviewing him when they opened the Mamba Academy. And the interviewer asked him, so is this just for elite athletes? It seems like it's just for travel ball and elite athletes. And right away, Kobe said, no, this is for anyone and everyone. You want to become the best version of yourself, no matter where you're at, as long as you're working hard and become a little bit better tomorrow and you become the best version of yourself, whether you're a rec league player or an advanced player, that's what the Mamba Sports Academy is all about. And that was pretty cool to hear him say that and how it relates to youth sports.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You check if I always say, like, even if you worked half as hard as Kobe, you're gonna be good. You know what I mean? So yeah, be the best version of yourself is great. That's a great one right there.
All right, my man. Last question: where can people follow you and find out more about everything Designs by DM is doing with youth sports?
So obviously my Instagram, designs.by.dm. You can find me there. I think we've talked about it. I'm trying to do the TikTok thing, and I'm falling off a little bit, but I'm trying to get back on it. TikTok's hard, man. TikTok's a fast one. You got to stay on it. But you can find me on TikTok too at Designs by DM. But yeah, other than that, you can see me at any 7-on-7 tournament. Find me out there.
You're also on Twitter. Your handles on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are all very confusing. So I still want to encourage you to consolidate all those.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how that is. Like, it's almost like a password. You know, you can't never have one password because this company tells you, oh, you need a dash and you need a special. And I'm like, and it's crazy. Everyone I go to is like a different no, that one's taken. I'm like, all right, so do you want me to start everything over? I have to start all my stuff over.
So to make it easier on everyone, I'll put a link to everything in the show notes and to all of your pages, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
If anybody's still on Facebook, send me a shout out. I feel like it's so lonely. Facebook is so lonely.
Yeah. All right, my man. Well, thank you. And this will not be the last podcast for sure, but this one will probably go out next week.
Yeah, for sure. Look forward to seeing you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of highlighting the best of youth sports. Be sure and subscribe, and please help us reach more people by leaving a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. If you or someone you know are interested in learning more about Numbers Don't Lie and what we do, what programs and services we offer for athletes, and how to get your athlete involved, be sure to visit numbersdon'tlie.biz. Until our next episode, go out and win the day and never miss your opportunity to be great. Thanks for listening to Highlighting the Best of Youth Sports.